Nine arrested in connection with escape attempt by the Hong Kong 12. Government to force civil servants to swear allegiance and embrace basic law. And city scrambles to set up temporary screening centers as COVID concerns compound.
Hello and welcome to TVB News. Police arrested 9 people this morning on suspicion of assisting the 12 Hong Kongers now detained in Shenzhen who tried to flee to Taiwan.
Officers say the group offered them cash, arranged pickups and places to hide.
The 12 Hong Kongers, now wanted by the Hong Kong police, were intercepted in mainland waters by mainland Coast Guard in August. They are accused of crossing the border illegally. Today, police arrested 9 people between the ages of 27 and 72 on suspicion of helping the Hong Kong 12 escape from the city. They include Tang Yun-ching, a former assistant to ex-lawmaker Leung Kwok-hung, a clerk, a chef, and others who were arrested during anti-government protests. Hong Kong indigenous member Chung Soo-ying is also said to be among them. Officers also seized more than $500,000 in cash, computers, mobile phones, and a receipt showing the purchase of a vessel worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Police suspect each person may have paid as much as hundreds of thousands of dollars to cross the border illegally.
We think that they're friends with the 12 people, and they were arrested for assisting offenders. That means they might have done something to prevent prosecution of these people or to prevent them from being arrested by the police. Their roles, including funding the whole smuggling operation, providing a boat, and providing transportation, and also providing accommodation before they abscond from Hong Kong.
It's believed a legal assistant offered assistance during the escape, while a chef provided his workplace as a hideout. Those charged with assisting offenders could face up to 10 years in prison. Meanwhile, police refused to comment on reports that the government flying servers and the police had the entire operation under surveillance before the suspects were arrested.
I'd like to stress that the 12 people are being arrested within mainland. They were suspected to have contravened the laws within the mainland. And the arrest operation within the mainland has nothing to do with the Hong Kong police.
Ho added family members of the suspects can seek help through the Hong Kong Economic and Trade Office in Guangdong or the Immigration Department.
All new civil servants will soon be required to swear allegiance to the SAR government.
The head of the civil service warns that anyone who refuses to follow the new law could be putting their career on the line. But unionized workers say the controversial rule is sparking fear and anxiety across the workforce. Jackie Lim reports.
It's the latest move by the government to ensure people on the public payroll avoid dissent. During a radio program today, Civil Service Secretary Patrick Nip announced the new rule will go into effect Monday. It mandates those joining the government after July 1st must take an oath of allegiance to the Hong Kong government and the Basic Law.
如果你話係唔擁護基本法、唔效忠香港特別行政區。
Nip reasoned that civil servants should be loyal to the government, adding that no other enterprises would endorse their employees to publicly go against their bosses and company. The government is also considering eventually applying the rule to all existing civil servants. A civil servant union says the government's vague concept of allegiance is causing major anxiety among workers.
It is over-politicized, the civil service. For newcomers, that may be more prepared, but it could cause a lot of and uncertainty for existing civil service, especially when we are not clear about the guideline and what could be the statute.
The civil service chief warned that breaching the oath could amount to a legal offense and result in dismissal. He added that workers refusing to take the oath could also risk their prospects for promotion and more probes from authorities. Jackie Lin, TVB News.
Hong Kong reported 6 new COVID-19 cases today. Half of them are locally acquired. All local cases are linked to previous infections. They include a 55-year-old resident at a Kwai Chung disabled care home. His infection brings the facility's total case count to 13. Another patient is asymptomatic and visited the virus-hit bar China Secret in Tsim Sha Tsui last month. Early this month, the 29-year-old went to another bar in the district, Virgo, with a friend who was diagnosed with COVID-19 earlier. The last patient lives in Tung Chung, near one of the earlier infected staff members from the Royal Garden Hotel. The remaining 3 imported cases all came from India. As another spike in local COVID-19 infections takes hold, the city is scrambling to test target groups and set up temporary screening centers for residents.
The first opened today in Wan Chai, and our Dong Yao Ne was there.
Residents waited early this morning outside the Harbour Road Sports Centre, not for some exercise, but for peace of mind.
My tummy has a big problem. I hope I am negative about this COVID-19.
Amid a surge in local infections this week, some worry they might have already been exposed to COVID.
Because one of the cases that in the Hopewell Center, and I go to the same gym room as that old man as well. So I at the same day as well. So I just come to here to take the test and see, well, to play safe and yeah.
The government will set up 4 temporary testing centers in recent virus-hit districts. Residents can walk in to have their nasal and throat swab samples taken. Results are then sent by text messages within 3 days.
The testing centers in Wan Chai and Kwai Chung will be open till next Wednesday. Each center can test as many as 1,000 people a day.
Mr. Faria says the sample collection process was trouble-free.
Including waiting, maybe 15 to 20.
He says the government should make free testing more accessible to residents.
No fee, of course. But if you go to a private doctor, they charge too much.
The government is also scrambling to get Thai nationals in the city tested amid multiple reports of COVID-19 among them. In Kowloon City, where a recent Thai cluster erupted, testing kits are available at a support service center for ethnic minorities. Today, authorities also distributed the specimen bottles at nearby Thai restaurants and shops. But there are still contact tracing loopholes. Mr. Sher visited a virus-hit restaurant in Tsim Sha Tsui's Royal Garden Hotel. He says a waiter there who was diagnosed with the virus may have served him, but authorities have yet to contact him for testing or quarantine. Meanwhile, the government continues to downplay privacy concerns. Officials insist all personal data will stay in Hong Kong and specimens will be destroyed after testing. Dong Yao Nie, TVB News.
COVID-19 cases around the world continue to spike, with Madrid declaring a state of emergency to fight off a second wave.
Meanwhile, the U.S.'s top infectious disease expert is cautiously optimistic the country will have an effective vaccine to start administering to high-risk groups by January. Leslie Tang has more.
Madrid has become a COVID hotspot in Europe and has declared a state of emergency. The Madrid region's 14-day infection rate for the week ended September 27th is more than twice Spain's national average and 5 times the European average. The government has imposed restrictions that ban all non-essential trips in and out of the capital and 9 of its suburbs, affecting more than 4 million people. Spain has deployed more than 7,000 police officers to ensure the rules are being followed. Brazil continues to suffer with the second highest COVID-19 death toll in the world, approaching the grim milestone of 150,000 confirmed virus-related deaths. The country also topped 5 million confirmed cases this week, and medical workers are overwhelmed. As countries around the globe race to develop a vaccine, the U.S.'s top infectious disease expert is cautiously optimistic the country will have a safe and effective vaccine by the end of the year. He said some Americans in high-risk groups could start getting their jabs by January.
Won't be able to vaccinate everybody in the United States, but you could start vaccinating people like healthcare workers who need a vaccine because they're putting themselves in harm's way by taking care of sick people, as well as people who are vulnerable to the deleterious effects of infection, like people with underlying conditions, the elderly.
Meanwhile, the neon lights of Broadway will remain dim. The Broadway League industry has announced theaters in New York City will be closed through the end of May 2021. It comes as a huge blow to the battered industry, which has been shut down since mid-March. 31 Broadway shows were in production when the closure began, and some shows say they will not reopen. Leslie Tang, TVB News.
In the U.S., Hurricane Delta has been downgraded to a tropical storm as it moves inland across Louisiana. The National Hurricane Center said Delta made landfall as a Category 2 hurricane in the southwest part of the state, but quickly weakened. It still inflicted a new round of destruction as it struck communities still reeling after Hurricane Laura took a similar path just 6 weeks earlier. The storm ripped tops off already damaged roofs. Forecasters warned of danger from storm surge and flash floods across much of southwestern Louisiana and parts of neighboring Texas.
Indonesia's capital is mopping up after protesters unleashed destruction on city streets. Residents are outraged over a new law they say will cripple labor rights and harm the environment. Vehicles were burned and government offices and bus shelters were trashed. Labor organizers staged a 3-day national strike Tuesday to demand the government revoke the legislation. The government warned protesters it won't tolerate any further destruction and attacks on police and communities. The job creation law approved Monday is expected to substantially change Indonesia's labor system, cut red tape, and overhaul natural resources management. President Joko Widodo says the aim is to attract more investment.
Back at home, a few firefighters spent this morning rescuing some wildlife. I'm sure you're on pins and needles, waiting to find out how a porcupine and a turtle had to be plucked from distress. The porcupine got stuck in a Shangmun Reservoir catchwater in Chunwan. Rescuers tried to trap the animal with a red cloth, but the timid critter kept running away. It took 4 rescuers to eventually secure the creature. Experts think the East Asian porcupine fell after looking for food in bushes at night. And a 1.5 foot long sea turtle got tangled up in a fish net on a bridge near Lam Chun River in Tai Po. The turtle is now at the vet clinic in Ocean Park, where it is celebrating and getting a checkup. That's the news. Thanks for joining us.
Bye for now.